A complete timeline of the failed Mueller investigation shows. It was a total witch hunt. Now that the expensive Mueller-misfortune is coming to a close, let's take time to reflect on some of the major developments into the Russian collusion investigation that were reported by Reuters. Note, many of the following descriptions have been shortened for simplicity and corrected for overt political bias. 2017. May 17, former FBI Director Mueller is appointed as a special counsel to investigate Russian meddling in the 2016 election and to look for links to Trump's campaign. June 15, Mueller is investigating Trump for possible obstruction of justice, The Washington Post reports. October 30, Paul Manafort is indicted on charges of conspiracy against the United States and money laundering, as is his business partner Rick Gates, who also worked for Trump's campaign. Former Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos pleads guilty to a charge of lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russian officials. December 1, Michael Flynn, who was Trump's national security advisor for less than a month, pleads guilty to the charge of lying to the FBI about his discussions in 2016 with the Russian ambassador to Washington. 2018. February 16, federal grand jury indicts 13 Russians and 3 firms, including a Russian government propaganda arm called the Internet Research Agency, accusing them of tampering to support Trump and disparage Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton. Richard Pinedo pleads guilty to identity fraud not associated with Trump campaign. February 22, Manafort and Gates are charged with financial crimes in Virginia. February 23, Gates pleads guilty to conspiracy against the United States and lying to investigators. He agrees to cooperate and testify against Manafort at trial. April 3, Alex van der Zwaan is sentenced to 30 days in prison and fined $20,000 for lying to Mueller's investigators, becoming the first person sentenced in the probe. April 9, FBI agents raid home, hotel room and office of Trump's personal lawyer Michael Cohen. April 12, Rosenstein tells Trump that he is not a target in Mueller's probe. April 19, former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani joins Trump's personal legal team. June 8, Mueller charges Konstantin Kilimnik with witness tampering. July 13, federal grand jury indicts 12 Russian military intelligence officers on charges of hacking Democratic Party computer networks in 2016 and staged releases of documents. Russia denies this and says there is no evidence of spying or hacking. August 21, a trial jury in Virginia finds Manafort guilty of 5 counts of tax fraud, 2 counts of bank fraud and 1 count of failure to disclose a foreign bank account. Cohen pleads guilty to tax fraud and campaign finance law violations and is interviewed by Mueller's team. August 31, Samuel Patten pleads guilty to unregistered lobbying for pro-Kremlin political party in Ukraine. September 14, Manafort pleads guilty to 2 conspiracy counts and signs a cooperation agreement with Mueller's prosecutors. November 8, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions recuses himself and resigns. Trump appoints Sessions' chief of staff Matthew Whitaker as acting attorney general. November 20, Trump submits written answers to questions from Mueller in lieu of interview. November 27 to 28, prosecutors say Manafort breached his plea deal by lying to investigators, which Manafort denies. November 29, Cohen pleads guilty in the Mueller investigation to lying to Congress about the length of discussions in 2016 on plans to build a Trump Tower in Moscow. December 12, Cohen sentenced to 3 years in prison. 2019. January 25, Roger Stone charged and arrested for lying to Congress about statements suggesting he may have had advance knowledge of plans by WikiLeaks to release Democratic Party campaign emails that U.S. officials say were stolen by Russia. February 27, Cohen testifies. March 7, Manafort is sentenced to almost 4 years in prison along with $50,000 fine, restitution of just over $24 million. March 13, Manafort is sentenced to about 3.5 more years in prison, total times is 7.5 years. Manhattan District Attorney announces a separate indictment charging Manafort with residential mortgage fraud and other crimes. March 22, Mueller submits his confidential report on the findings of his investigation to U.S. Attorney General William Barr. March 24, Attorney General William Barr declares that there was no evidence that Trump conspired or coordinated with Russia in the 2016 election. That's quite a timeline, and justly so for what is being called the most prolific special investigation in modern history, without actually convicting a single person for the actual crime that was being investigated. Ponder that. Was it really worth it? The cost of the probe has been extraordinary. Although Trump was criticized for claiming that the Mueller investigation was a $40 million illegal Joseph McCarthy-style witch hunt, he may end up being correct on the figure, or close to it, since the tab was at $25 million as early as September 30, 2018, with the costs getting more extreme as the time went on. As reported by ABC News, special counsel Robert Mueller's team investigating Russian interference in the 2016 election reported spending more than $25 million through September 30, according to the latest Justice Department filing, including $8.5 million over the last 6-month reporting period. You can buy a whole lot of border wall with that much cash. How can you justify your witch hunt now? What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comment box below.